Hello, Alex, Barry, Demi, Henry, Hudson, Isla, Isabel, and Thomas. Thanks for joining me. We're carrying on with our revision at the moment, and I'm just sort of randomly choosing topics that I think are A, really important, and B, when I look back, I think you might have struggled with a bit at the time. So what we're going to look at today is gradients. Now, if you remember, a gradient is the slope, okay? So we're just going to be focusing today on just working out the number that represents the slope. So I'm just going to work through some of the practice questions we did in our lesson, and then I'll also go and model some of the questions that will be in the Hegarty 204 that I want you to do. So this is one straight out of our lesson. So just to remind you of your strategy, you basically go and choose a triangle of your choice. Makes sense to use one that's tracked by the X and the Y axis. And the way you work out the gradient, we call it the Y step divided by the X step. Now, the Y step is the height of your triangle, and your X step is your base of your triangle. So with the one that I've drawn here, the length, the height is clearly 2, and the length is 1. Doesn't matter that we're going from -1 to 0, that's not relevant. The actual length is 1. Lengths are always positive. Now, 2 divided by 1 is 2, so that would be your final answer. Now note, because the line is going up from left to right, that's always going to be a positive gradient, hence why the answer is +2. Okay, so next one. Go and choose a triangle of your choice. You'll see I have already shaded that in. Height is 4, length of the base is 2. So your gradient is your height divided by the base. Make sure you get it the right way around. That's 4 over 2 equaling 2. And again, before you go and put in your final answer, just double check the sign. Is that line going upwards from left to right? Yes, it is. So it's going to be a positive gradient. So your final answer is +2. Final answer. Okay, now it doesn't have to be that your fraction is a greater than 1. It could be a fraction, okay, and it just represents if it's less than 1 that it's just a shallower slope. So let's take this one here, for example. That height is 1, the length of the base is 4. It's the height divided by the base, so it's 1 over 4. Or in other words, a quarter. And that's absolutely fine as your final answer. I expect Hegarty will be wanting a fraction rather than a decimal. Okay, now again, as always, because that particular line is going upwards from left to right, we want a positive answer, so it is plus a quarter. It's a quarter. Okay, final one of my examples. So here we go. Now, notes. This is the first one we've looked at, which is going downwards. So a final answer must be negative, okay, because this is going downwards from left to right. So there's my triangle. Doesn't matter which triangle you choose, just make sure it's something sensible that gives you whole numbers. The bigger the better, I would say. So the height of this triangle is 2. The length of the base of this triangle is 4. Now 2 over 4 simplifies to 1 over 2, but because this is going downwards, your final answer must be -1/2. Okay, it's going downwards. So, excuse me, let's go and work through some of the ones in Hegarty 204. That's the Hegarty you're going to be doing. Looks like we've got 10 questions there. So with this first one, you can take any triangle you want. Now I want to take I could just take that tiny little triangle there, but why not? I mean, that tiny little triangle there is absolutely fine. Now, just be careful with the scale. Do you see that the height of that triangle is 2? The height of that triangle is 2, and the base of excuse me, the base of that triangle is going from -1 to 0. So that's the length of 1. Remember, the lengths are always 1. Okay, now that gives me an answer of 2. That's your final answer. It's the lines going upwards, so +2. Now, if you'd happened to taken just a bigger triangle, say that triangle there, okay, then that would be absolutely fine. You will get the same answer, and I'll show you how. Now, that height there is 12. Now, the base is going all the way from -1 all the way up to 5. Now, that is a length of 6 squares. So the answer is 12 over 6, which is also 2. You are always going to get the same answer for the gradient, the slope, because it is a straight line and it's not changing. The slope isn't changing. It's the same steepness, whether you're down here or here or here or here. So as long as you just apply your triangle properly, you will get the right answer. So don't overly stress about which triangle you choose, but make sure it's one that gives you heights and bases that are whole numbers. Okay, now this one here, I'm just going to take the triangle, I'm just going to trap the triangle between the axes. Okay, so that's got so looking at that triangle there, that's got a base of 3 and a height of 3. So when I go and work out my gradient, remember it's the height divided by the base. That is 3 over 3, which is 1. But be ever so careful. That line is going downwards, so your final answer must be -1. Okay, it's minus. Right, so don't overly worry where you pop the minus. Just have it floating out at the front. I want you to be used to the idea these are two lengths, which are just both 3 and 3, and your overall answer is minus because the line's going downwards. Okay, so let's do this one here. I'm going to go and trap that triangle there. I've got a height of 2 squares. I've got a base going from -6 to 0 of 6 squares. 2 over 6 simplifies to 1 over 3. It's going upwards, so it is positive a third. Give your answer in its simplest form, so you must give it as 1 over 3, not 2 over 6. Let's go and have a look at the next one. Okay, I'm going to go and trap that triangle there. We've got a height of the triangle of 3 squares, a base of the triangle of 6 squares. Doesn't matter that the base is on top, it's still the base. It's got a base of 6. 3 over 6 simplifies to a half, but because it's going downhill, that must be a final answer of -1/2. Simplest form must be -1/2. It is going downhill. It is not going uphill. Okay, couple to go, I think. So let's go and do this one here. Now, your choice. I'm going to go and take this little triangle here. You might want to go and take a bigger one. That's up to you. Now, I've got a height there of 3 squares. I've got a base at the top of 2. So my final answer is going to be 3 over 2. I can't simplify that. Okay, it's going upwards, so a positive answer is what I would expect. And my last one, I'm going to demonstrate this one here. Okay, so you can take any triangle. Now, be careful you take one that's giving you whole numbers. Okay, it's giving you whole numbers. So look where it is actually crossing at a whole number. Now, I think that there is definitely crossing at a whole number there. And I think it is definitely crossing. Now, where is it crossing? Definitely on that's tricky. Not there. There. That's definitely a whole number there. So you've got to be ever so careful where you pick it up, where it's crossing. It's actually crossing exactly where the lines cross. So that's the triangle I've gone and selected for this one. I'm pretty sure that's whole numbers. So I've got to be really careful with this final question 10. I'm going from 1 down to -5. Okay, so I'm going from -5 all the way up to 1. That is the length of 6. And on the base, I'm going from -4 up to +4. So that's the length of 8. So I'm doing height over base, which is 6 over 8. Simplify your answer. That's 3 over 4. And it is going upwards, so that's positive 3 over 4. 3 over 4 is my final answer. So that's it, folks. Okay, so go and give it your best shot. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, I'll be here keeping an eye on how you're getting on. So if you're getting stuck, just message me and I'll be looking at your marks on Hegarty and transferring them across over onto Teams so I can give you some feedback. Okay, guys, that's it. Bye.